Is it recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Live?
Kind of works. It may be a little awkward how I'm
Let me
saying
sit a
it.
little higher. Oh my gosh.
So basically, as we're doing these rides, so this is a mountain biking trail that we're on, by the way. And as we're doing these rides, we're like stopping and having these incredibly deep conversations. And that's why we're here. This is episode 1, baby. What have kind of been the life lessons that you've been learning as of late that have impacted you, that basically have started all this conversation?
I thought when I would turn 45, I'd be like, I'm coasting. I'm not. I'm learning like every day, all the time.
Yeah.
I think I got to like my 40s and I was like, maybe all the things I did leading up to this age, a lot of the things I did to like, quote unquote, cope or be happy, started realizing they weren't always the best or the healthiest. And it wasn't even like I was like, one day I woke up and I was like, addicted to meth or something. It wasn't that. It was more of just like, maybe where I am right now is not where I want to be. Maybe
Sure.
I'm not, I don't
question.
feel as fulfilled as I thought I would be.
Yeah.
Two of the massive things that I've been really digging into is the idea of community and being known. And I need a lot of community and I need a lot of relationships and I need to be known. Otherwise I'm not super happy. I think those are the conversations you and I have had a lot.
Tell me a little bit about your experience over the last couple years working for yourself and how that's changed. And then what has been your next steps as a result of seeing that loneliness kind of creep in?
I ran my own marketing. I mean, I still do this on the side, but I ran my own marketing company for, 8 years.
Yeah.
And I started realizing that it just wasn't fitting who I was. I actually liked the actual work, but the environment that it put me in, you're always like, you're working about the internet and you're communicating en masse with people from distance, right? So it's like digital. And so a lot of the time you're on a laptop and I thought it was like the dream. I was like, I have my own marketing business and it's paying me well and I have hit the pinnacle. And again, not to sound too cliche of a story, but then after a number of years, I was like, I feel like I have this like gnawing thing underneath of like actually being really lonely and unfulfilled in it. I started coaching my kids' soccer teams, and something when I was like with a group of people and a group of kids, something like came alive in me that I had no clue that I had been neglecting for like so many years.
What sounds interesting, the like difference between the two, because you kind of see like, marketing, entrepreneur, my own thing to, I'm a soccer coach.
Yeah. And
but then it's like, oh my gosh, soccer coach is so much better, so more design.
I even forgot how much I love the game of soccer. When I started feeling this discontentment and this like restlessness, and I just had a really hard time processing it. The things I slowly got into of like telling some friends, hey, I'm just not feeling it. Like, I think I need help processing through this. Going to a therapist, like all these things that at the beginning felt weird and awkward, felt like failure. But those people walked alongside me and helping me realize these things. It's like you can't do it without community.
Just like get back to like,
I'm like,
why is this important?
Yeah.
And
why is what important?
Why is this self-awareness thing important? And why is realizing like community so important?
If I had to say what is the meaning of life,
I don't know if I asked you that one.
I would say our job, meaning of life, is to figure out why we are here on this earth. And that involves serving, helping, being a part of the world and being a part of this whole thing. And then also, in order to do that, we have to learn about ourselves and we have to constantly be figuring out, where am I best positioned to help those around?
What's the conversation with God in the midst of all of this?
Yeah.
And do you feel like he's integrated in this process?
Yeah. My story is that I was raised in a very evangelical Christian, conservative environment.
Yeah.
And I think my adult life, I have been like trying to figure out, always trying to wrestle and trying to figure out, what of that upbringing do I want to keep? And what's been a big discovery piece, what I haven't liked, is that the church and maybe growing up in a Christian background has been like, when you have these sorts of problems of like being lonely or even like mental illness of like anxiety, depression, anything like that I you know, that are sort of rampant today. That it's the church, not always, I don't want to make massive generalizations, but often, especially when I was growing up, it was very much of like a band-aid of like, well, then you're not trusting God enough.
Let me throw something in
that
I think kind of brings interesting perspective. Something I've been thinking about as of late is we've made this really interesting distinction between something that is spiritual and something that is non-spiritual. Like so secular and spiritual. And so what we've done is we've kind of removed God out of all the secular parts of our life, which is work. Which which by the way, we're spending the majority of our time doing.
100%.
Right? And so we've removed him from that. So that's where we kind of get into this lie of, if I'm not in ministry, I'm not doing it correctly, because I can devote at least all my time to ministry. So there's some separation that's happening that I think has really caused the disservice within the church. Right. All that to say, I totally understand what you're saying. I get it. It makes perfect sense. Nice. Like for us just to talk, it's like only 1/8 of our personality.
I know.
We're like, break that off.
Yeah, I can't.
I
can't from here.
I'm gonna have to go this way. I think.
Yeah, you get it.
Oh gosh.
I know, it's really on there.
Is that?
Oh, it's like part of the dead tree. Look at that.
It's part of the dead tree.
Oh yeah.
Come on, dude.
Oh yeah. Boomerang.
Yeah. If you had one piece of advice that you think people could grow in, what's that area of growth?
Yeah.
And how do they?
That's a really good question.
Your story is going to resonate with maybe not the 18-year-old, but it will the 40-year-old or the 30-year-old or whatever.
Or like
so your story,
the
like,
super hot, attractive, athletic male in their 20s.
Of course.
You're
gonna relate.
That's my story. At risk of sounding like I'm ripping someone off, I am a big fan of Simon Sinek, who wrote this book called Start With Why. He was talking about going on the what's it called in Spain? Where you do the Camino, the walk.
Santiago del Camino.
And when he did a huge career change, he was very disillusioned with his career. And he was like, in order for me to figure out what I want to do next and where I'm called to, I need to go on this walk and journey. And he did the whole thing with his wife. And both of them were saying, isn't it funny that as humans, it sounds counterintuitive, but we often think the end result is the purpose and is what we're trying to achieve. And actually it sounds so cliche, but it's cheesy. So hard to remember. The journey is actually the meat of it. And that once we get to the end, there's always another journey, right? We often think when I get to X, I will be complete and happy and fulfilled. And it's just, I hate to break it to people, but it's not totally true. Like you can find fulfillment and you can find happiness, but it is not like an end destination and then it's done. It is life is a dynamic, ongoing thing. Anytime in life when people think they're going to achieve something and then it's going to make them whole, they're always depressed and sad afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
When people get gold medals in, the Olympics, we humans actually thrive, I think, the best when we are just changing and being formed and moving somewhere. Long way of saying, trust the process. Always be making yourself better, but not in like a self-improvement way, I would say, but in like a becoming maybe more humble, becoming more, reaching out to more people, becoming better in your community, finding your core values of like who you are as a person and who you were designed to be and moving towards that. Those are the big things to me that I've realized that process, and that it will never be done until you die. Which sounds really pessimistic, but actually I think once you embrace that, then you're like, oh cool, there's this adventure I'm on now. And it's like, it's never going to be done. I have always been, all right, when I do that adventure, that bucket list, or when I do that thing, then I'll be happy. And it's like, it's not true. It is the process of life, that you, and then the last thing I'll say is knowing yourself and having really strong relationships and community are everything. You can't do anything without it.
That's money, dude. Money in the bank.
Can I go off script for a second?
Yes.
Just for fun, what would you say? Well, how would you answer that question, Chris? If you had to give someone like one piece of advice, sort of type deal.
That's such a large, well, now that it's on me, I'm like, what a massive question. My advice is almost more on the spiritual side. We've made this distinction between secular and spiritual.
Yeah,
it's like God has a design for your life.
Right.
God designed you a specific way.
Yep.
And he's given you talents and giftings and motivations. And when you merge those together, it's like, man, why do I feel so alive? Because you're operating in God's design.
Yeah.
We can remove God, try to remove God from that, but it's not the case. Yeah, and so that would be my biggest message to, again, sum it back up, is God has designed us a specific way. And when we operate in that, we thrive.
Yeah.
And so how do we get to that place? That's the thing that I'm most interested in, is
and
how do we get people there?
Yeah. And I think, and then to make it more complicated, I think part of the lifelong journey is figuring that out, right?
100%.
Like,
rather than, I
that.
figured it
out.
Yeah,
it does not, no.
Because as a child, I guess I shouldn't say child as much as like adolescence, I was into golf. And I played golf every day. 365 days a year, I was playing 350 plus in a year. I'm not really doing that anymore, but I could as an adolescent.
The Bible talks about journeys all the time. At one point you were like, golf was it, right? And now you're in this journey of like trying to figure this out. Like there's...
And now I want to help people in their journeys.
Exactly.
It's like, what is your journey?
Yes.
I just want to help you along. You've been given this natural proclivity towards these things. Let's figure out what they are.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they already know what they are. It's just doing a little bit of this, drawing it out. Yeah, you already know.
Yeah.
Right?
Today's culture, in many ways, has sold us the idea of like removing process for fast results. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a slippery slope. Like, come to this seminar and you'll figure everything out. And it's like, well, that is part of the process, but you won't figure everything. You're being sold a lie.
Okay.
Yeah. What do we got?
What is the greatest adventure that you've ever been on?
Oh, ever been on?
What's maybe better? What's one of your favorite adventures that you've ever been on?
The first time I was introduced to like really any sort of outdoor human powered sports and backpacking.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what backpacking was. And then in college, I went on we had this thing called January term where there were no classes. You could take like one class in January.
Yeah.
And it was like a separate thing. And one of the things I took, the class, was like a 2.5 week backpacking trip in Hawaii.
Nice.
In the island of Kauai.
Ooh, even better.
And I went in nervous. Like, I almost didn't do it. I think my parents like made me or something. But I went in not knowing anything, not knowing any of the people, and came out like it blew my mind. Like,
it ruined your life forever.
It ruined my life forever. It was like, we were like sleeping under, like swimming in waterfalls and like sleeping next to them at night and like hiking and like in crazy rainstorms and like sliding down mud. And like, it was the craziest adventure I've ever had.
Yeah.
And then not only that, the adventure part, but then the community of people and how tight we got on that trip.
Yeah.
When I know it sounds cliche, but when you're like suffering, like one night our tent leaked and we woke up and all our sleeping bags were soaked to the bone and it was like 45 degrees and we all had to like,
it's funny,
5 dudes had to like, we had to like squeeze spoon together to like stay warm. Like there's something about that community experience together.
Yeah.
You go up and you go down together. You like, you're hungry, you're tired, and then that was just, it blew my mind. And I came away from that trip being like, that forever changed me. I will never be the same from that adventure. It was so awesome.
Oh, I love that. That's so good.
Yeah. Okay, you?
I got my answer.
Okay. Oh, so
yeah, because when you were talking, it reminded me how I was ruined forever by one trip. And it was a 40-day trip that I started in LA. I rented a car and drove 7,985 miles. It went from LA up Big Sur over to Yosemite to San Francisco. My brother flew in. I visited a friend there as well. Then we went all the way up the coast through 101, Redwood National Forest, up through Portland, Seattle, Vancouver, over to Banff. My brother flew out. Then Banff went down through Waterton Lakes National Park, Glacier National Park. And then from there came here, and I had a buddy who lived here. That was Tom. So visited him. Then I had another buddy fly in, and we did like all the Southwest.
Oh my gosh.
So we went from there, we went down to Bryce Canyon, Zion. We explored the Tetons together. And then Vegas. He flew out, and then I went to Sequoia, back to LA, and then done. I mean, absolutely ruined.
And the best part was that the amount of people that joined you.
Oh, that was
flew out.
Again, the community piece was so amazing.
So cool.
Because I did the same thing, not the same thing, but a similar trip the next year.
Yeah.
And it was solo.
And how was it?
I don't
even,
like
totally
I was
different,
just
right?
like, it was fine.
Isn't that funny?
Fine. And that's when I found this law of diminishing returns thing that I told you about, where I get to day 4 and I'm like, what's wrong? Am I okay? Oh, I've been alone for 4 days.
I've discovered that in the last, like even number of years, where I used to do way more adventures alone because that was like my time to myself. And again, nothing wrong with that. But I started realizing after a while, I was like, it's actually way more fun to do the adventures with people than it is by yourself.
Right.
Way more fun.
Yeah. So that trip absolutely ruined me. And essentially, not essentially, it's the reason why I live in the West.
Yeah.
Because that trip happened, and then I said,
yeah.
no, I have to live in the West. And it took me 7 years.
Isn't that cool?
I ended up moving to New Zealand. Again, this is the journey thing that you're talking about.
Yes.
I did ministry nonprofit for another 3 years, then moved to New Zealand, was there 8 months, then went to Denver, lived there for 5 months with no job because I wanted to live in the West. Failed.
And you were like, wait.
Then came back to Atlanta because I had no money. And so I moved back in with my parents. At age 31. Oh man, it was tough. Started doing residential real estate, did it for 3 years, hated it. Everyone asked me the question, hey, if you had unlimited money, what would you do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I just want to live out West, which I didn't know at the time until I asked myself the question, if you couldn't fail, what would you do?
Right.
And it was, I'd move out West because I tried Denver, I failed. I lived there for 5 months. It didn't work. So then I moved out, and then here we are 6.5 years later.
Isn't that so fun?
Talk about a journey.
Oh, 100%.
Journey, dude.
I'll be heading into this world with a son. He's a sophomore right now, but when he gets to college and then graduates, it's like that societal pressure of like, what are you doing when you graduate? You should know your path.
Yes.
And some do, which is great. But they'll probably change it 7 times. And then some like just don't at all. And that's super stressful for them.
We'd probably look at the stats and probably be like 70% of people have no idea. Freaking awesome.
All right, love it, dude.
This is great.
So fun.
I like that session too.
Yeah. That's how I almost did the story of my first trip out west to Montana to Glacier. And that's where I was like, that was like I'm moving out west.
Forever too?
Yeah, I'm moving out west.
Oh, I love those stories.
So fun.